Welcome to another edition of the Truth Talk Roundtable. We have another amazing lineup of panelists dedicated to bringing you the latest news and information. Recently, we had the Chinese New Year celebrations given the green light and carols by candlelight cancelled. The hypocrisy during this manufactured crisis has been astonishing. There are many similarities with the 1918 Spanish flu, another time in history where masks were mandated. Bacterial pneumonia infections look very similar to corona. This is another way of inflating the positive results, which is used to warrant more lockdowns and more tyranny that's implemented, as well as mandatory vaccines that will be as mandatory as possible. Recently, we've seen a nurse collapse moments after receiving a COVID shot, and vaccine manufacturers are not liable for any adverse reactions. There are red flags everywhere. Very disastrous set of circumstances that we are under. Recently, I was interviewed by a student from a Washington university in relation to the negative health consequences from the application of masks. They were very receptive in regards to this. It's vital that we spread this urgent message of the health concerns so people can educate themselves. Great show once again tonight. I'll hand it over to Karen Brewer from the Bush Telegraph, who will provide you with more information.
G'day, Jeff. G'day, everyone. Nice to see you. I just want to talk about, rather urgently, the spiritual event that's happening at Uluru this evening. For those of us in Australia, Eastern Standard Time, it will be 9:05 p.m. For those of us in New Zealand, that means going outside at 11:05 p.m. and just face towards the direction and strength. I think it's really important. I don't claim or profess to know a great deal about the whole ceremony that's there. I just am of the belief that it can't hurt if we all just go outside, preferably take your shoes off, stand on the bare earth, I believe, and face towards the direction of Uluru and send positive vibes, love, light and strength. I think it's really important. My observations is they're going in overdrive to shut this down, and Eilish will go into more about what the hell's going on up there, but you need to pay attention. I would like to speak briefly about Gladys Berejiklian, you know, the Daryl Maguire bonker, and the fact that people follow behind politicians without assessing their credibility. Nobody, in my opinion, should be obeying any rule or regulation handed down by pedophile protecting politicians. I believe that's wrong, and I believe most normal folk know that that's wrong. They lie and cover up for child rapists. They lie and cover up with suppression orders. So you must assess the credibility of your politicians. Okay, Daniel Andrews came out originally, masks don't matter. Next minute they're compulsory, and now everyone's going to get a $5,000 fine if they're not using one. Like, come on, people! You must assess the credibility of your politicians. You must. Now we've got Gladys there running around Parliament House, bonking out the brains of Daryl Maguire, hopefully on work time, which we were paying for. And you're going to allow this cretin to disrupt your plans for Christmas, New Year, or just in general? Come on, people. Wake up! Like, honestly, wake up. You know, I mean, regards to this broadcast tonight, really important. If you're in New Zealand at 11:05 tonight, please go outside, facing the direction of Uluru, and channel your thoughts positively, love, light, strength. I believe that's really important to do, and that is what I will be doing. If you're in Eastern Standard Time in Australia, it's 9:05. if you're about to comply with masks and travel regulations and travel bans, I would say to you, you need to question who you follow. And you need to search your soul, because there is something in your soul right now that's telling you this is wrong. And I would urge you to follow your soul instinct. Masks are wrong. Restrictions of travel are wrong. And the people giving these orders have absolutely no credibility when you look at who they are as a people. Thanks.
Absolutely.
Very well said. Priceless information. People haven't got the luxury of just kicking back and waiting for somebody else to get involved and fight the tyranny. It will take a combined effort to restore peace and freedoms in Australia and New Zealand.
I think Jeff might have frozen for...
Well said, Karen. So now we'll hand it over to Eilish the Avalon, who will explain the significance of tonight's ceremonies and everything that that encompasses. Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much, Jeff. I hope you can all hear me. Thank you, Karen, for introducing this topic. I think it's very, very important that we all, no matter what our spirituality is, everyone listening here cares about humanity. Otherwise, you wouldn't be tuning in. And tonight is a very important night. Once in 26,500 years, we have a galactic convergence like we have now. And Jupiter and Saturn, the planets, have been in conjunction now, getting closer and closer and closer and closer. And tonight, it will be not only the summer solstice down here in the southern hemisphere and the winter solstice in the northern hemisphere, but also the closest point where these two planets converge visually for our eyes. I was watching it last night and they were this close together, and tonight they're going to be that close together, and the light is going to merge. The thing is, Jupiter is about awakening and ascension and enlightenment, and Saturn is control, and it's been vibing out through its rings and through its frequencies an oppressive kind of energy. And now with Jupiter, which fills us with so much joy, it's able to take down the negativity enough so that enough positivity can come and shine on in this solstice at this time, as we are now at the tipping point of the convergence of these two planets, but also the center of the galaxy. Once this Star of Bethlehem phenomena obviously was seen, some time ago, in very famous birth of a very famous sage, but we also in more recent years, it was about 800 years ago that when the planets have become so close. So the thing is, they've tried to, as Karen was saying, they've tried to shut this down. So there's been elders that have been gathering. There is a secret ceremony. Stephen Strong is one of the only people. He's an original elder, and he's one of the people, along with others that shall remain nameless, that are part of this sacred ceremony. Now they've been participating in a conference, and now they're hopefully going to get access to this rock, with or without, because the Uluru National Park has been shut down from 10 a.m. this morning till 10 a.m. tomorrow, right smack bang in time for this ceremony. Never been done before, but due to some invisible virus, that's because people are coming from New South Wales, everyone's been quarantined and everyone has to be tested and everything like that. But the thing is, whatever's happening over there, we have to trust that it's going on anyway, because there's magic words that are going to be spoken tonight. And there's going to be a figurative magic box. Now, I've seen Stephen Strong's and Evan Strong's collection of rocks. This is more like a rock thing that I believe will open up like open sesame. But, we're not privy to the details. Hopefully, Mr. Strong will be able to share more of that. But, in accordance to the knowledge holders and the original elders, we need to be meditating at least 1 hour before the solstice, which is in Uluru time, 7:32 p.m, and then up to an hour afterwards. But and wherever we are in the world, wherever you are watching this from the world, you can add to the grid. The Uluru is the heart, Uluru and Katajuda, it's really the heart of the earth. And from the center of the heart of the earth, there is all these ley lines coming out. Now, if we direct our prayers and our highest aspirations for humanity, this is the big one. This is what we've been preparing for, guys. This is what we've been waiting for. This is the time. This is the dawning of the age of Aquarius right now. Okay? All the times that we've been singing about this, all the times we've been praying about this and putting our feet in the earth, now is the time right now. And if not now, then when? And if not you, then who? Right? The unfortunate thing is the controllers have seen to it that, you know, that the national park is shut down. And look, you know, it's up to those that are there on the ground what they do with that information. But the thing is, wherever we are in on the planet, we can direct our energies towards that right now. It's very, very important. Collectively, there's a spiritual phenomenon called the Maharishi effect. And we've got about 7.5 billion people on the planet, okay? Now we only need about 7,500 people together right now, meditating on the earth from wherever you are, UK, US, Hawaii, it doesn't matter where you are in the earth. Turn towards the heart of the earth right now and start putting your best felt prayers and aspirations, because there's magic tonight, magic in a solstice. Here it is the longest day and the shortest night, and reversed in the northern hemisphere. It's the most power we can collectively muster. So let's overcome the controllers with their, you know, the national park shut down and everything, and let's bypass it. We can hack this. We can hack this with our prayers and our intentions, our meditations and our visualizations. Whatever your spiritual flavor is and your spiritual philosophy is, we can all agree that we all care about humanity enough to be tuning in right now, caring about our children and our families and their well-beings and the future generations and the DNA that comes from us here and now, and that it must not be changed, and that this is the time of the great reset. So you know what? If there's a chance that this can work, let's do it. Let's make magic happen tonight. Go out barefoot, say a prayer, you know, whatever your ceremony is, light some incense, light a candle, say a prayer, even if you haven't prayed in many years. And let's just hope that there's enough of us that we can tip this over. But it's really important not to have negativity in our hearts. I know we're talking about some intense topics. I know we're talking about bad people that are doing bad things to each other. But the thing is, never lose that spark of hope and that firm love for humanity. Never lose your light, no matter how dark it gets. This is the darkest point. This is the darkest point for the Q team too, for those following the Q story right now. This is the darkest, most intense time right now for them as well. Okay, so send your love over to the US as well, because what happens there affects us all. So I wish you well tonight on this sacred Ascension Day and Solstice night and day wherever you are. Solstice blessings from us here in Australia, and together we can make great changes happen. And there's this Maharishi effect, enough of us praying at this sacred time, you know, we can actually change the quantum field so that these bad guys we talk about now, I really hope one day we don't have to talk about these bad guys, that they are in our distant history of the 3D that was. Okay, so thank you very much for your time. Thank you for your hospitality, Jeff, and lovely to see you all, my brothers and sisters. Okay.
That was beautifully said, Eilish.
Yeah, thank you. Big love.
It's a
love
really
you all.
wonderful, sacred time. And we know the criminal elite are always working actively to diminish our divine spiritual power with the genetically modified organisms in the food, trying to interfere with our DNA and RNA with the vax, and then the fluoride in the water to calcify our pineal glands. They're afraid of us waking up and realizing our true potential. So very important that people get involved in this, the meditation, the spiritual healing, and everything that this important day represents. Wonderfully said again, Eilish. Thank you. Next, we have Massimo, who has been also actively campaigning, fighting against the tyranny and trying to restore freedom to our great land. Thank you for joining us. The floor is yours.
Anyway, Jeff, I've oh, there you go. How you going, Jeff? Thank you very much for inviting me today. Well, look, I reckon together we can all do better. Just like Eilish said earlier, like if we can all pray together, all at the same time. I only need 7,000, but can you imagine the energy of the love that could be pushed out in the universe? I think would be fantastic. The Great Reset is an interesting one I've been sort of looking at lately. So what do we do if something like that happens? How do we look after ourselves? How do we take care of ourselves? I mean, it's all good and dandy we speaking up and spotting out what the problems are, but we need to also think about solution for ourselves, for our family, for our community. Is it anyone that's also thought about if the shit hits the fan, excuse my French, are we prepared for that? Do you have food stock? So I've been, not to talk about doom and gloom, so more on the solution base, like growing our own food is important. Aquaponics is also a very good thing that we could look into. There's so many things, geodesic domes that can produce housing, how to recycle our own waste so we can reuse it for ourselves. There's so many ways out there. So I've been looking at with a few friends out there who are fairly, very skillful in building things and coming up with new innovation that could help people in the future. I think that's something that once we understand our grasp in this whole world, we can start formulating new systems for ourselves rather than having a system controlling us, where we control the system. So very interesting things happening lately. Very interesting things. I getting close to this actually, and finding out there's a lot of truth into that, and people want to know the truth. It's all in there. The truth is all out what we're seeing as well. So I think we need to put our minds together and see what we can come up with.
We certainly do. Well said. And you're actively taking part in a page and group, the Survivalists Handbook.
Yes.
This is life-saving information. There are so many tools and equipment that can aid us in survival. There are life straws. There's all sorts of camouflage equipment. People need to organise a bug-out bag and materials that can help them if they have to venture out to a safe location, don't they?
Absolutely, Jeff, because at the end of the day, talk the talk, walk the walk, you know. I like to do things with my hands and get things ready and be prepared that way. I'm already here and I have been for a very long time, and so have us, but if push comes to crunch, who can you trust when, you know, it all goes disarray?
That's right.
I'm being real here. I'm just being shooting it straight. So I think there's need to be a lot more men out there need to step up to the plate. And yeah, we have a role to do, I think.
We most certainly do. And it's advised for people to stock up on non-perishable items. Look at getting a flint, Swiss Army knives. There's a lot of equipment that look at
learn
it.
Fishing.
Mm-hmm.
Learn how to fish, learn how to make your own fire, learn how to filter water, which is quite simple. You only need a bottle. Look it up. It's all on the Survivalists Handbook on Facebook. Check it out. Add yourselves. We add things regularly, and you'll see as well. And that's a positive way to sort of get our minds off the doom and gloom and say, right, I'm taking charge of myself and my family. This is what we're going to do.
Yeah, well said. Next, we have Rachel Vaughan, a survivor of satanic ritual abuse. Thank you for joining the panel.
Thanks for having me again, Jeff. Lovely to be here. Look, I just wanted to reiterate what we've been saying earlier about this activation that's happening tonight. It is extremely important, and I've been so... It's been one of those things that's like a marker. I've been very excited about it. I know it's going to make a big difference. We need a critical number of people to all join together and have these positive vibes, and we're basically opening portals for the age of Aquarius to come in. So this is prophesied for a very long time, and it can't be stopped. And I believe that a lot of what we've gone through this year, just you know, obviously my background, having had that abuse, that ritualistic abuse, I know that these dates are extremely important to very powerful people. The fact that they've shut down Uluru and they can't do their ceremony, that tells me that they are so scared. They are scared of what this activation means. They're terrified of it. It's fantastic. This is great news. I don't think it's going to make any difference. I think that the activation will still occur. These things can be done remotely. It's about energy. So you don't, obviously those people that are part of that ceremony know more about it than I do, but from an energetic point of view, if you direct your energy, it's extremely powerful. And I think we'll get large numbers joining in. With these latest lockdowns, I'm just so close to Christmas, I just can't help but think that this is about, and a friend of mine, Jackie, put something up on Facebook today about one of the Channel 7 news broadcasts was saying that there's no singing and no chanting. You're not allowed to sing or chant. And that was actually one of their directives. It's just so utterly ridiculous. So we're not allowed to sing and chant. So we're not allowed to pray. Now, for this to happen, for them to put something like that up so close to this particular date is just proof to me that they are terrified. They can't stop this. This is going to happen. I just wanted to point out that there's so much fact checking that's going on, and it's just so utterly ridiculous because there are hundreds of thousands of doctors and medical professionals and medical professors of medicine who are speaking up about these vaccines. One in particular who I just thought was quite amazing is a guy from called Dr. Igor Shepherd, from the Wyoming, is a public health department manager for Wyoming. He has basically said that he believes that the C-19 vaccine is a biological weapon of mass destruction, and the poor guy's been stood down. Now, why would somebody who's gone through all of that effort to get their medical degree and to get into such a high echelon, obviously for his state, to go out and say something like this unless he really believed it? And he's not the only one. So there's another one, Dr. Sushrit Bhakti, who stated that taking the C-19 vaccine is equal to going to your doom. We have a Brazilian president who won't even take it. He'll allow his people to take it if they want it. He's not going to make it mandatory, and he won't take it himself. And he's citing liability concerns because there's no negative repercussions for these big pharma companies creating these vaccines. There's also the Great Barrington Declaration. This was talked about on Amazing Polly in her video, Honest Experts Are Trying to Warn You. That was about 11 days ago on BitChute. And the Great Barrington Declaration has 12,686 medical and public health scientists and 38,012 medical practitioners all signing together that these COVID directives are overkill. It's not, it's an enormous overreaction basically, and the lockdowns and the masks are not safe. And kudos to you, Jeff, for pointing out that Dr. Fauci did his own study, and I think it was 2008 on the Spanish flu. And according to what his study stated, was that there were more people who died from bacterial pneumonia from wearing masks in the Spanish flu or during that period than from the flu itself. Now, when you've got that sort of, and he's supposed to be the expert. So when you have someone like that making statements like that, and obviously I tried to cover that up, but a lot of people have that information still, and I've remembered it. It proved that this whole situation has been orchestrated for a reason, and I think it's to put us all into a state of fear, and it's to stop us from worshipping and to believe in our religions at this time in particular. So that's my take on it. There are, for those that actually want to have a look at the experts that are talking against this, there's 500 German doctors that are speaking out against it. They're everywhere. There's plenty of them. You've just got to seek the information out. And there's already proof that these fact checkers, one particular one that was talked about was Lead Stories, one fact checking company connected to the CCP. So it's pretty obvious what's going on. The fact checkers can't shut up all of the medical professionals. There's too many of them, and we're just all energies. Activate this portal, bring in the age of Aquarius. It's a humanitarian age and it cannot be stopped. Oh, Jeff, you're stuck. Okay.
Very well said.
Eilish, you had something.
Rachel, you've done a fantastic job on that. great analysis of what's taking place, and we see people on the northern beaches of Sydney receiving their share of the tyranny now. It's all done by design, and Karen did an excellent breakdown of that. They target some of the affluent suburbs because they know they're less likely to revolt. They want to protect their wealth and everything that they've accumulated. They're not going to get out there and be active campaigning. That's just not the strategy they want to take. They would have been less successful if they had tried it on the western suburbs. So it's very much done by design. It's all premeditated. It's a horrible crime that's being carried out here. And yes, the mandating of masks, lung infections, bacterial pneumonia, and then it's all being misdiagnosed as corona. So it's an entire criminal operation. It's going to take a combined effort. And if the majority go along with the tyranny, it makes it harder for us to campaign against it. And then a lot of these bills just get pushed through. So it can feel like we're fighting a losing battle at times, but we must very much remain positive, as disastrous as it feels. Are there any final comments? I know a lot of people are keen to enjoy the ceremony. They want to take part in that, and I'm all for that as well. So anything we want to touch on? I know.
I would just like to say.
Very, very interesting times are in at the moment. Wow. It is kind of like, if you've looked at everything from The Simpsons predicting stuff to this happening and that happening, you're like, and it's all coming together. So, and it feels fantastic and wonderful to be a part of people who see the same thing happening as well, in the same alignment. And that's one mind. That's been one, you know. It doesn't really matter what you're praying to. Is positive vibe and positivity is, you know, the important part, I guess.
Yeah,
most certainly is.
It can be in this world.
Yeah. Well, Eilish is going to take us out with a wonderful song. I hope everybody has a very Merry Christmas. Best wishes.
Got a straight shooter, Jeff.
Melbourne.
Straight shooter.
So, would you like to commence that song now, Eilish, for the viewers, please?
I'd just like to say, everybody stand in your truth.
Sure. So I'm in real ceremonial mode tonight. So I've got here. I hope you can hear it okay. Of prophecy, of miracles and telepathy, the revelation of the mystery that I am you and you are Now is the time of awakening. Spirit is in everything. It's in the earth and the moon. It's everywhere. It's in the sun and the stars and the love Peace on earth. Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Om. I open my heart to the language of light, receiving with grace the gift of second sight. Prepare the way for the great and peace, peace on earth, peace, peace on earth. Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Shanti Om. Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Om Shanti Om. Om Shanti Om. Om Shanti Om.
Excellent. That was so
Not there
beautiful.
for you and me and humanity. Thank you so much. And stay in prayer. Go outside. Go barefoot. Check out the Jupiter-Saturn conjunction. Check out that Star of Bethlehem for tonight, wherever you are in the world. And you know what? If there's a chance we can knock this over with the Maharishi effect, let's do it. Let's do it now. Let's do it tonight. Let's do it on the most powerful night in 26,500 years tonight. So thank you so much for holding this space, guys. For the most awakened, most conscious people on the planet, we join now together as one heart, one mind, one spirit, one prayer. And that's it. And we have spoken. Thank you so much.
Awesome. See you later, everybody.
And it is done. It is done. It is done.